Hi everybody, welcome back. My name's Claire. I'm going to do a repeat of something I did a few weeks ago, which was a straight pour, single straight pour, but as a triptych. So one straight pour, one puddle that I'm going to tilt over 3 canvases. It did work when I did it previously, but the paint was too stretched at the edges and there was a number of things wrong with it. So I've been thinking about it. I've got a new way of doing it. So I'm really excited. The colours I'm going to use are blues. So I did this little coaster recently. It is my favourite ever coaster, and it's just with one blue and pearl white. And once that is resined, that is going to look beautiful. So I'm going to use this blue. It's an Amsterdam blue. I've got about 4 shades of blue, and there's going to be quite a lot of white. So I'm going to alternate white and blue when I layer up the cup. So a bit different from normal. I normally go for lots of contrasting colours. I'm going to try and restrain myself, try and just stick to the blues this time. So let me show you the colours I've got. Here are the colours. The blue that I used for that coaster was this one, Amsterdam Phthalo Blue. And that next to the white was just gorgeous. So that's going to be the predominant colour, I'm hoping. I've also got this one, Brilliant Blue. It looks a little bit like cerulean blue, but only just a brighter version. I've not used it before, this one, the Amsterdam one. And then Amsterdam Prussian Blue Phthalo. So it looks very dark there. And it's like a very dark blue, but actually when it's mixed with white, you get this really wonderful turquoisey green colour. And then 2 De La Brownies, Turquoise Phthalo and Pearl White. So the colours are there. They look quite dark, but I'm going to be adding just a little bit of white in between each layer as I layer up my cup in a minute. They're all mixed with PVA glue and water pouring medium, and I'll put the recipe for that in the description of the video. So I'm going to layer up this plastic cup. I think it's a half pint, but it looks a bit big actually. It's not a pint, it's smaller than a pint. I'm going to do reasonably small layers, and my plan will be to get white in between each of the layers, but just a small amount. So let me try and show you the consistency of this. It's really nice and rich and creamy. So it flows really well, but there's a big mound and it takes a few seconds, quite a few seconds actually, on the surface before the paint sinks. So really nice and rich and creamy. So I'm going to go in this order. So I've separated the 2 darker colours, but I've put the 2 blues together and the 2 more turquoisey colours together. So I'm going to start with just a little bit of white, only a tiny bit right at the bottom. Whatever colour I put at the bottom is the colour that's going to come out last. So I'm really thinking at the moment about the very centre of that puddle. So I'm going for quite small layers. There is a chance that this painting will just come out white. It will end up being a very white painting. But that's the chance I'm going to have to take. I want to separate all the colours with the white, so just a small amount. The way I can do that best is by doing this, running the colours down the side of the cup, because then they go directly on top of that white. Now, the other factor that could affect the end result of this is the transparency of these colours. So the 2 turquoises and the dark blue, they've all got some transparency to them. They're either transparent or semi-transparent. This blue is the only opaque colour. So I guess my worry with that is that will that blue take over? So I think when I do layers, I'm going to try and do just a slightly smaller layer of that blue. Although the first layer I did was just the same size. So just maybe smaller. In each of these cups, the coloured cups, I mixed up 80 grams of my pouring medium and then 65 grams of paint. In the white, it was 100 grams of pouring medium and 80 grams of paint. That has to be one of the prettiest cups of paint I've ever managed to make. Look at it. And it's all because of the contrasting white and the really small layers. So pretty. Right, let me get the canvases ready. So before I start, I just want to show you my setup. I've got 3 small rectangular canvases. They are, what are they? They're this 29 by 21 centimetres each. If I show you underneath them, I've put push pins into them all, and I've hammered them in so that they're touching this piece of wood. I've got a piece of wood that's going all the way along the bottom, and that piece of wood is supported by some yoghurt pots, so that afterwards, so I'm going to be able to tilt it on this piece of wood, but afterwards I can take them all off and they're going to sit on their own push pin. So I've levelled all the canvases individually. What I've then done is put a piece of double-sided sticky tape, you can see the end of it there, between these canvases. So it's going to stick them together. So I'm going to hopefully be able to move this as one on that piece of wood. There's a few concerns I have. Last time I did this, I put some gaffer tape right over the top and it flowed over it beautifully. So my concern is that there's a gap in here. So is it going to flow over nicely? So what I will do is put a very thin layer of base paint down that will hopefully just fill that gap. The other concern I've got is that when I take this double-sided sticky tape off, well, am I going to be able to take it off? I put by mistake a bit on the end here and I've just peeled it off, but even now it's not all off. See, there's some there. So I think my worry is that double-sided sticky tape going to stay? If it does stay, will it matter? Can the paint just go over the top of it and dry and you won't even know it was there? So there's a lot of question marks, but I am really excited to pour this on. I've changed my mind about putting a base layer on. I've got a lot of paint here. Deliberately, I want a lot of paint because I want to be able to tilt this right to the ends. But I think if I put more paint on, I'm just going to have far too much paint on this canvas. So I think I'm just going to go for it and see what happens. It's just an experiment. If it doesn't work, I've had fun doing it and I would do something different next time. So straight pour. I'm going to twist my hand around. I'm going to move my hand up and down just to get lots of different designs. I'm going to start in the centre. Wish me luck. All right, that's all the paint out. I'm having to stop because it's about to go over the edge. So far so good. I just don't particularly want it to go over the edge, so it's a bit of a race against time. Now, I thought it was going to be very light. It's not, it's really dark. So I'm going to be tilting long ways and just hope that it glides over. It's looking pretty good, actually. Right, I'm just going to have to accept that it's going to go over. I'm going to put some flow extender down. So I've got lots of leftover paint here. It's got quite a long way to stretch, this paint. There's a lot of paint there, but it's got quite a long way to go. So I'm just simply putting some extra paint down for it to push against. Right, so it's now nicely pushing against that green. Instead of rolling over itself, you can see this wonderful ridge of green that it's just pushing against. I think I'm going to get just one chance at this each end, because I'm going to be able to tilt it off this side and then quickly get the paint back to the other side and tilt off the other side, and then that's it. It's gliding beautifully. And it's getting lighter, which is brilliant in colour. Oh, I'm losing lots of paint. Just got to hope I have got enough paint to get back down. So there is a slight ridge at the ridges of the canvases, but that's okay. Right, this is where it's starting to really open up. So what I'm wanting is to get one fluid design over the 3 separate canvases. Now this is working really well in terms of the push pins that I put in the back are supporting this canvas really well. So all I'm doing is holding on to this central piece of wood. So it's as if I'm just tilting one single canvas at the moment. So if I get it all covered, then I'm going to have a look at it, see if I need to do anything else. Yes, it's all covered. Right, brilliant. Wow, what's really interesting is where the ridges in the canvas, it's actually adding a bit of design, because it's got this wave, which actually looks quite nice. Now I've got an very, very obvious blue section there. Which I'm not mad about, but it does add something really interesting to the painting. Let's just have a little play. I'm just going to see how much movement I've got left in this. I'm just tilting it to this far end just to see what would happen if I can remove any of that blue. It is moving, it's just quite slow now. But the more I'm tilting it, the more it's opening up at the other end. Wow, I am loving it. Right, I've got to try and take them apart. So what I'm hoping is that there's just enough paint on there that where it's collected in the middle, it would just pour down. That's my plan. Yeah, so obviously I'm not going to be able to get that tape off. Right, it is pouring down, but it's very, very slow. I don't know if it's going to meet or not. So I could tilt these now individually towards the centre, but I don't want to mess up the continuity because the continuity is spot on. I think what I might do is try, because the front is the most important part, I think what I might try and do is with my finger just drag the paint down. So what I mean by that is just very gently touching it and then pulling it down. In fact, I might even just get some drips, I think, and that will help drag it. Yeah, that's helping drag it down, actually. The weight of that should help to drag it. Yeah, this double-sided sticky tape is very much staying and is part of this painting. Yeah, that's working. It's pulling it down. I am absolutely over the moon. Look how well they blend and they meet. This is one piece of artwork divided into 3. Oh my goodness, I'm so happy. When I did it last time, they were all a little bit disjointed and didn't flow. This flows 100%. Every single line in this painting flows from one canvas exactly to the next. It's so pretty. The colours are incredible. It's very dark. I was expecting a really light painting. Thinking about it, if I had put white in and not the pearl white, I think it would have been overpoweringly white. But the pearl white just seems to blend a bit more with the other colours, so maybe I shouldn't be surprised. It's dark, but I love it. It's really rich and look at the folds. I really like that bright white centre because it just adds so much character to this. So what I'm happy with is I'm glad I got rid of that edge, that mid blue edge, but I've still got that design over there. So it's not symmetrical. You've got this wonderful design up here, and then I think that's offset by this really jagged line round here. So I think the composition works really well. The edges are just gorgeous because it's flowed over so nicely. And then inside, if I try and show you, I haven't wiped the drips yet because can you see there are drips there? But what they're doing is pulling the paint down. So they're stretching it. So as I put it away, I will get rid of all the drips, but I want those drips because look, can you see it's pulling the weight down? So I'm hoping to actually have sort of perfect sides by the end. So I am so excited. I will be back when it's dry. I'm absolutely over the moon. It's worked. I have got one design across 3 canvases, one uninterrupted continuous design, one puddle stretched over 3 canvases. I am so happy. It's a lot darker than I wanted, but actually it's really beautiful. On a really bright white wall, it will really stand out. Let me take you in and show you all the amazing little details. Just look at all the lines. These colours have worked so well. Although it's dark, they work so well together. So pretty. There are just thousands upon thousands of little lines. My favourite bit has to be this silvery bit through the centre, and just how you can see the folds there, and it just looks so 3D there in the centre. You can just visualise how I pulled this out by looking at those folds. And then the bottom of the centre. And then the 3rd canvas, it has this wonderful dark line diagonally across this canvas, which I think really helps with the composition. It's very rich. The colours are just very strong colours. There, you can see that little wave. That's partly where, when I pulled the paint, tilted the paint across this ridge. So it really adds some really interesting little designs. Yeah, you can see a whole line down there that looks slightly distorted. The same, I think, here maybe, and certainly here, and here, I think, and here. So you've got some really interesting designs in this just because there were ridges in between the canvases, which I think works really well. Great, let me know what you think. Please leave me comments, your thoughts on this piece. And thank you so much for watching. Take care, everyone. Bye.